समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Just how popular or unpopular is Donald Trump across the world? Now, you might have one view or the other, but on one thing we all have to agree, I'm sure, that he has shaken up the world order as no American president has done in at least our living memory. He's also exercised American power in a way as we have not seen any American president do. One invaded Iraq, one invaded Afghanistan, maybe in the past, at least in my time, somebody went and fought in Vietnam. Yet, none of them changed the world order as much or shook up the world order or destabilized it as much as Donald Trump has done. And that's why views on him across the world are significant. Also, the changes are significant. And to understand that, Pew has helped us by producing this new research. This new research, it actually is headlined in such a way that the story is in the headline. Trump gets negative reviews internationally as fewer say US is a reliable partner. So Trump is down globally. The US is also down globally and quite significantly. So we will look at areas where they are down and also in which countries they are more down, in which countries they are less down. However, before I get into any of that, I will tell you a small story. And this is a story that goes back, I think, to 2008, 2009, maybe 2008 or thereabouts. That's when David Mulford was the US ambassador to India. And he came to visit us at the Indian Express where I used to work. And he came for one of our interactions with our editorial team. And there, one of our young people said to him, Ambassador Mulford, what does it feel like? How does it feel like to represent a country whose president has the lowest ratings, is the most unpopular in his country? Now, America is a democracy. The general pattern in America is that presidents become unpopular over time, particularly in their second term. And these ratings come out almost every week, and you can see where they are going. So, George Bush Jr., who was the president then, George W. Bush, his ratings were really down at that point. So David Mulford said, look, I know my president's ratings are down, but I know that he gets ratings of nearly 70% in India. I will take that, right? He handled it with good humor. This was also the time when after the nuclear deal, Manmohan Singh had said to George Bush, President Bush, people of India love you dearly or greatly or something like that, for which he was also criticized in India. I'm just telling you this story to say that an American president can be unpopular at home, can still be popular in many parts of the world. In India, for the past 25 years, American presidents have been popular. America has been popular. In fact, America's popularity and also America's reliability rating has been going up. Now, we don't have data from Pew for every year of the research that they've done, but we have sufficient evidence to show that in India, America's ratings and American presidents' ratings have been high. These have declined now, and yet they remain quite high, and thereby also sit some surprises, which we will go through as we look at the data. These graphics we use, we will take courtesy Pew. We are authorized to take them. Thank you very much, Pew. Pew does very high quality graphics and they do all the work for us, at least by way of these tables and graphics. So thank you very much, the team at Pew. The team that has analyzed this data and that's put together this report, I must acknowledge them also. That is Richard Wyke, Laura Silver, Moira Fagan, and Jonathan Schulman. So thank you very much, all four of you. This is a survey of 36 countries and 2 territories. The countries, if I start reading them, that will take a long time. But you can see the list on your screens As I speak, the entire list, 36 countries and 2 territories. What are the territories? This is East Jerusalem and West Bank, because Pew was not able to research in Gaza. That's why these 2 entities have been listed separately. So 36 nations and two entities have been surveyed, and that is where this data comes from. Now, what are the highlights in this data? First of all, you look at the confidence in Trump, and I will give you the rounded outcomes first, conclusions first, and then the data. So number one, there is no country surveyed where Trump has become more popular than before. Not one country. Everywhere, in some countries, maybe his popularity has not fallen by that much, say in Israel, but in every country, his popularity has fallen significantly. He gets particularly poor ratings for handling of some key issues in the world, tariffs, for example, Gaza, Iran, his claims over Greenland, and the Russia-Ukraine war. On the US, favorable views of the US have dropped. In many countries, popularity of the US has had double-digit declines. These are Indonesia, Italy. You can understand, but I think this was before his dust up with Giorgia Meloni, because this research was done between February and May of this year. So this was obviously before his fight with Meloni. Indonesia, I'm surprised as to why he's become so unpopular in Indonesia, but generally he's become much more unpopular in countries with larger Muslim population. Indonesia, Italy, Nigeria, South Africa, South Korea, and Turkey. Trump, as you would expect, is the least popular or most unpopular among Muslim majority countries. Lowest it is among Muslim countries, Malaysia, Pakistan, Turkey, and of course the Palestinian territories. Now this is very funny, or maybe not so funny, because Turkey happens to be an American ally as a member of NATO. Turkey is a NATO member. Turkey is the only NATO country in Asia, mostly in Asia, just a part of Turkey is in Europe, mostly in Asia, where America even has its nuclear bombs stored. Yet in Turkey, America and Trump are among the least popular or the most unpopular. Then Pakistan. Pakistan is listed on the NATO website as a major non-NATO ally, and Pakistan has lately been promoting itself and also talking about its role as a mediator. As I started reading about this, I found a new video that the Pakistanis have produced. Obviously, the ISPR has got it produced. Very zippy. It's a very zippy tune. It's done very American style with American singers, American guitarists, American performers saying US loves Pakistan, and then goes on to say we love Pakistan, the peacemaker. We love Pakistan, the peacemaker. Be careful. I'm reading only the title of a song that ISPR has got done. I know, given the way things are, somebody will take out these 10 seconds and say Shekhar Gupta said it. I'm reading the title of the music video. That's my anticipatory bail. So while the ISPR and the Pakistani establishment is trying to say that the Americans love them, by implications that they also love America, the situation or the picture that comes out as a result of this big survey is exactly the opposite. In fact, if you see this set of graphics, India, Pakistan, etc., don't feature here because this is comparative data from a period when these questions were not asked in all of the 36 countries that are surveyed. But a lot of the key countries, most of Europe, American allies, etc., are there. If you see that, and in all of these graphics, you will see the green down and the blue up. Green is positive. That is, do you consider America reliable? Everywhere, green is down. Everywhere, blue is up. Everywhere, blue is up except in 2 countries. These 2 countries are Hungary and Israel. Hungary, obviously, Orban was still there. But in any case, even though Orban's been defeated, even his successor is sort of right of center. So Hungary, it's improved by 6%. In Israel, by 4%. Everywhere else, it's down. Even if you look at this interesting graphic on the health of American democracy. We like to believe that Americans lecture everybody else on the quality of their democracy. So in this case, Pew has surveyed these 36 countries on what they think of the quality of American democracy. 56% globally think that US does not respect the liberties of its own people. Only 39% believe that the US does. So US, in terms of its image, is not today a paragon of democratic virtue. Then there are some details within this. In no country surveyed, the majority supports Trump's handling of Gaza. Even in countries that generally support Trump, say even in Israel, the percentage is 48%. He doesn't get more than 50% anywhere over his handling or his policy on Gaza. In Israel, however, there is a nuance. 48% Israelis support Trump's policies on Gaza, but among Israeli Jews, that's about 80% of Israel's population, among Israeli Jews, this support is 58%. Among Israeli Arabs, this is only 14%. When you add the two, then the weighted average or the weighted median in this case comes to 48%. Among Palestinians, East Jerusalem and West Bank, as you would expect, it is only 3%. In fact, those 3% must be some really unusual people. As there'll be unusual people in India as well, because globally, Trump gets bad press on his handling of trade. But in India, for example, 18% still approve of his handling of trade. Those 18% I want to meet, right? Those are really remarkable Indians, genuinely argumentative Indians who are happy to go on the other side. That is 1 in 5 Indians. Then you come to page number 9 of this survey. Page number 9 in the survey shows you the highest and lowest confidence in America. See this graphic on your screens. That tells you which country has how much confidence in Trump. And to the right is confidence, and to the left is lack of confidence, no confidence. The dark is no confidence, the light is confidence. And you can see that after a few, the light side or the right side just narrows like this. So the country with the highest confidence, Philippines, 68%, Israel, 66%, then Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, I don't know those three, but nevertheless, they are 65, 63, 54%. Trump must have done something good by those countries for him to be so popular there. Then Hungary, the usual suspect, Orban effect, the right-wing effect, 44%. Colombia, he's very popular there, 43%. And then India. India is 39%. Among other major countries, among any major countries of the world, in India, he has the highest confidence level even now. That is 39%. No confidence is a close race. It's 36%. And then you come to other usual suspects or the countries where you might find some interesting comparisons. In India, 39% have confidence in Trump. So what's happening in Pakistan? A lot of people in India think, particularly in the commentariat, that Trump is leaning to Pakistan. He's looking after Pakistan. He's hosting Asim Munir. He's calling him his favorite field marshal. He's patting Shehbaz Sharif on the back. Even his vice president is patting Shehbaz Sharif on the side like this. So he must be very popular in Pakistan. In India, he gets 39% confidence rating and 36% no confidence rating. In Pakistan, hold your breath, he gets 12% confidence rating. That's only 1 in 8 Pakistanis has confidence in Trump. 82% have no confidence in Trump. And look at some of the others. Very interesting. West Bank, East Jerusalem, you would expect is the worst for Trump. Only 4% confidence and 87% no confidence. Turkey, 6% believe in Trump, 92% are against him, a NATO ally. And you can see that Trump has been flattering Erdogan all this while. One reason, and that's Netanyahu's complaint, that one reason he did not let Netanyahu carry out his plan of unleashing a Kurdish rebellion on Iran the moment the fighting started, the reason was that he was persuaded by Erdogan not to allow it because Turkey, Syria, Iran, Iraq, all of them see Kurds as a threat, most of all Turkey. So Trump deferred to Erdogan and did not allow this Netanyahu plan to go on. And yet he is so incredibly unpopular in Turkey. 92% in Turkey say no confidence, and I'm a bit surprised that his ratings are very poor in Sweden as well, because he did not claim Greenland from Sweden. He claimed Greenland from Denmark. But maybe this is the Scandinavian viewpoint. Scandinavia is very liberal, a little bit left, although the right has been winning in many of these countries now. But he has 89% no confidence rating in Sweden. Again in Malaysia, 87% negative, 13% positive. About the same percentage. In fact, almost exactly the same percentage as in Pakistan. Also, you can see across the board, and I will not bore you with details, across the board, he is very unpopular among his allies. And that is something that I also said in a national interest some time back when I quoted something that I seen at the back of a truck. But some people said, no, it's not just on the back of a truck. It's written on a mithai shop in Kanpur. That is Thaggu ke laddu, I think it's called in Kanpur, but I saw it on a truck. Aisa koi saga nahi jisko humne thaga nahi. That there is no friend of mine or there is no family member of mine who I haven't swindled. And I said that applies to Donald Trump, because there is no ally or friend who Donald Trump has not humiliated or has not harmed in this second term. That is why you can see a lot of the negative buzz on him is coming from his traditional allies, friends, or frenemies, because they are now unsure if they can count on American protection. That includes Japan and Australia, South Korea, the first two members of the Quad, and third, sort of almost the Quad, because the third also is in the same geographical or maritime neighborhood. Then see this is on page 11 of the survey. This shows how very few people across these 36 countries and 2 territories approve of Trump's handling of international issues. What are these issues? International humanitarian aid, disapproval 56%, immigration policies 65% disapproval, Venezuela, where he picked out the president or kidnapped the president, 63% disapproval, the war in Ukraine, 72% disapproval, Iran, 74%. Most of the countries surveyed, or a large number of the countries surveyed, are America's friends or allies, but 74%, this includes Pakistan, disapprove of Trump's handling of Iran. In fact, Trump's handling of Iran gets among the poorest rating in Pakistan and Turkey. We'll come to that in a bit. The conflict in Gaza, 76% negative, tariff, 77% negative, Greenland, 68% negative. I think if there was a question on how many people find it funny, you might get a rating of 98%, because that sounded like so much of a joke. Now come to a key data point. How is the US? We earlier told you about confidence in Trump. Now we're talking about how is the US viewed around the world. See this chart. To the left side, the dark color is unfavorably. The right side, the light color is favorably. Again, you will find Hungary is favorable, 58%. Poland is 49%, so almost 50%. Then almost everybody is below 50%. Japan is 50 and 50. 50 favorable, 50 unfavorable. Philippines, I told you, he's very popular in Philippines, 56% positive, 41% negative. Sweden, once again, 80% negative, 19% positive. But come to India, 45% is still positive. This, however, is a decline from earlier. In 2024, for example, towards the last days of Biden administration, the US got 51% confidence rating from India. Now it's 45%. So in India also, it is down. But once again, come to some of the others. the new friends of the US, or at least those countries that see the US as a new friend or an old friend. Pakistan, 15% have confidence in the US, 81% have no confidence. And Israel is the exact opposite of Pakistan. 81% have confidence in the US, 19% do not have confidence in the US. And Turkey pretty much is at Pakistan standard, 84% negative, 13% positive. There's one more data point, that is, how does each country view the world's leaders right now? So there is also Zelensky there, who I'm taking out of our calculation because that doesn't matter so much in our immediate context. I'm not saying he's not important. He's a very important leader in the world right now, but in India, not that significant. So I'll say Trump, Macron, Xi Jinping, Putin, Netanyahu. And interesting things there. Trump in India, 39% say yes, they like him. Macron, 33% say they like him very much. Trump, 39% say they like him very much. Putin, 51%, that is to be expected. Russia is very popular in India. Netanyahu, that's a surprise, only 34%. That's quite a surprise. That really tells me that Netanyahu has, maybe the way he's conducted himself, has also got him bad press in India generally, because a lot of people in India are not happy with how he has acted in Gaza. But the interesting thing, the most interesting thing in the Indian numbers here is Xi Jinping. 25% like Xi Jinping. Now, I want to meet this 25% also. This popularity rating for Xi Jinping in India is higher, is way better than in Poland and Japan, for example. And once again, because Pakistan has become so central to America in the region, in Pakistan, only 12% like Trump, 19% like Macron. Xi Jinping in Pakistan has 83% popularity. That is where he should contest elections. He will sweep that election, and if he comes to contest that election, Pakistani army would not even dare to interfere with that election. Maybe that's one way for Pakistan to have a fair election. And then Putin in Pakistan is 32%. Netanyahu, as you would expect, is 3%. Actually, as you would not expect. I would not expect even 3% in Pakistan. But there are always outliers everywhere. The question of, does America interfere in other countries' internal affairs? That's always an issue in America. In our country also, our politics, going right back to Indira Gandhi's era, Americans are interfering, foreign interference. In fact, in those days, P.L. Modi, who used to be a wonderful parliamentarian, he once walked into parliament with a badge saying, "I am a CIA agent." Once again, please don't take a, once again, don't be surprised if somebody takes out those 5 seconds and saying Shekhar Gupta saying I'm a CIA agent. P.L. Modi said that by way of making fun of this propaganda that foreigners were interfering in India's politics, and that's why Mrs. Gandhi was having problems at that time. So American interference is a popular thing across the world, particularly in the middle-income countries. I shall not use the expression third world because our professor Steve Cohen taught us not to use two expressions. He said never use the expression superpower and the third world. And his argument was that once you use that expression, then all debate and argument closes, because you put somebody, a very important country or a very important section of the world in one box, and then you can't have any argument or debate. So I will not say the third world. 17 middle-income countries. Of these, India is the only one where less than 50% think that Americans are interfering. So if I see Twitter these days, and if I see all this Rona Dhona over deep state, US deep state, ye aa raha hai, wo aa raha hai, George Soros, Donald Trump, Trump administration, this runs contrary to that view. In any case, it's nobody's argument that social media or Twitter represents popular opinion. That's an echo chamber. And this is a survey particularly focused on the 17 middle-income countries, where India also features. 16 of these 17 countries believe that America does interfere in other countries' internal affairs. In fact, if you see the median there, median is the middle point between the lowest percentage and the highest percentage. If you see the median here, then it's 75 at America interfering in the world's affairs. Turkey is at 75, Pakistan is at 76. India is an outlier because in India, more than 50% do not say that America interferes. Only 47% say and 30% say America does not interfere. India is the only country among the 17 where this is a minority opinion. And then for a touch of the supreme irony, Pew also surveyed people in America to find out if they think America interferes in other countries' internal affairs. So globally, among middle-income countries, the median is 75. In America, 83% of Americans do believe that their country does interfere in other countries' internal affairs. In fact, if you want to understand today's 45% Indian rating for America, 45% is high given how America is rated right now, Trump's America is rated right now. We also need to see when America was the most popular and the most trusted in India. This was in the spring of 2015. Then the American ratings were 70% positive and only 8% negative. So under Trump, you can say, to use an Americanism, you've come a long way, baby, but in the wrong direction. And in conclusion, since we are talking about Trump, I will also bring you a data point from last year's Pew survey, spring of 2025. There, 80% of the people surveyed across the world described Trump as arrogant. 67% called him a strong leader and 65% described him as dangerous. And significant increases in this category were noticed in countries where Trump is relatively popular. That is Hungary, Nigeria, and for heaven's sake, India. So dangerous, strong, arrogant, yet popular.